What's up, everyone? Namman here, and we are doing another podcast. So last time we were doing a lot more of our esports. We were talking about Warhammers, miniatures, and all that kind of fun stuff. So we're bouncing around talking about all kinds of good stuff. Bit of updates related to stuff for this episode. We are going to be going into more video game related stuff. We're going to be talking about Magic. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different cool things that are going on and happening. So I know most of the people that have listened to the podcast are fans of Magic the Gathering because, you like consuming all that modern content that I've been posting up. So let's start off with talking about Magic. Command Fest and all that stuff are coming up. I'm going to be at Command Fest Richmond playing, which is going to be in April. So, if you guys are around, cool, come say hi. We've got stickers to give away to people. But that's not the real thing. There's a bunch of Command Fests all over the country there. I'm just letting you know where I'm at. But the cool thing with Magic, besides the Lord of the Rings spoilers, which I'm sure everybody has already been hyped and obsessed with the One Ring, and that magical what if I won the lottery scenario came to mind about, well, if I open these packs and I just got it, how awesome would that be? A one of one card, that seems great. I don't know if I'm going to buy into the collectors. I don't tend to buy the collectors boosters. Very, very few sets have I had done that. Kamigawa's Neon Dynasty and Phyrexian all will be one, right? These two sets that are very close and near and dear to me. Most people know that I'm a big fan of the creature-based decks. Samurai has been my oldest creature-based deck that I've been trying to make work for the longest time. So when that came back, that's awesome. Of course, I love ninjas. I've got a ninja deck, samurai deck. So I was like, yes, all in on this. Cyberpunky samurai seems awesome. So I was all about that. Bought the collectors for that. Of course, I'm all about Infect. So when Phyrexian All Will Be One came out, it was like, yes, I'm going to buy this. But those were 200, 250. That's it. Where this is pre-ordering right now for $400 for a collector booster. That's 12 packs. I don't know how great the rest of the cards in the set are going to be, but I don't foresee that going down in price much, at least for some of the pre-orders, because people are willing to spend that for that lottery ticket. Now, this could be wrong because I'm recording it in March right now, and it could easily have changed and shifted by the time this episode comes out, and pre-orders could go down, or more cards can be spoiled, and things aren't going to be too crazy with that regard, and I don't know. We'll see. I probably not going to pre-order, or I'm probably not going to get a collector's for this. I'll probably just buy a set booster and open some packs, because I love the art cards and some of the extra stuff there. So we'll see what ends up happening with the actual set. A new format, though, official Wizards of the Coast format. This format has been around for a while. There's been some awesome people that have been pushing this format and helping to curate it and get it ready for this day. I am, of course, talking about Oathbreaker. Now, if you're not familiar with this format, it is a format that you can do 1v1. You can do it as a multiplayer format. And so it's set up where you have a 60-card singleton deck. So a little bit easier to manage than your normal commander decks. And you have a commander that is a planeswalker, right? The Oathbreaker. And in addition to having a planeswalker, which you can use any planeswalker, in addition to having that planeswalker, you get a signature spell that goes along with it. Now, you cannot cast your signature spell unless your commander or your Oathbreaker, your planeswalker, is on the battlefield. Both your commander, your Oathbreaker, and your signature spell do get affected by the commander tax. So if my commander was Liliana of the Veil, for example, 3 costs, lovely, discard related, sacrifice related planeswalker there. If you have her as yours, cool, costs 3. If she dies, she's costing 5. She's costing 7. It's going up quick. Signature spell, same thing. Let's say you have smallpox as your signature spell, and you can be able to sit there and cost it for 2, cost it for 4, cost it for 6, so on and so forth. I have 2 Oathbreaker decks that I built before this format was like official, that I've been having fun with, and I wanted to be kind of degenerate and be like, I like mill and I like discard effects, so I'm going to make 8-rack and I'm going to make mill. So I have Ashiok as my Oathbreaker commander, because it's the War of the Spark version, because it's a 3 cost, 5 loyalty, and it's going to cause your opponent to mill 4 cards, and then they're going to exile their graveyard. Seems great for anybody that's trying to do graveyard shenanigans. Also is, just kind of low cost commander with lots of loyalty. So really, really good that if I throw it down early and I don't have a creature or someone to protect Ashiok, then I'm okay if it can be able to tank a hit or 2, and I can still utilize my signature spell, which is Mind Funeral, which, for those that aren't familiar, it's a 3-cost spell, which is 1 blue and a black, and target opponent is going to mill cards until they mill 4 lands. So imagine a deck just full of mill-related effects, right? I'm running both the crabs in there. I've got Glimpse the Unthinkable, Archive Trap. Basically, I took Modern mill and I said, I'm going to utilize all these cards because I'm not currently playing as much Modern, and so I'm going to throw these into a deck and we're going to have fun as a nice singleton mill deck. So that's my first Oathbreaker deck. And then the second one, like I said, I wanted to make a discard deck, so I decided to go with 8-rack, and this is Duretti. Again, I'm going with the War of the Spark Planeswalker because of that extra 8-rack effect. I've thought about using Liliana the Veil in this situation as well, and maybe I will. Maybe I'll just get a sleeve that can hold both of them and just flip it and decide which Oathbreaker commander I want at the time and go from there. But Duretti's in there as the current one because of the extra 8-rack taxing effect. His mind, he doesn't have a lot of loyalty like Ashiok. He's only got 3 loyalty, so it is a little bit harder to keep him alive. But I thought the extra taxing effect is going to be better. So his -1 is forcing your opponent to discard a card, and then of course if it's the same thing as like the rack, if they have less cards in their hand, they're going to start taking damage. But I have the rack in there, I've got Shrieking Affliction, right? I've got these taxing types effects that you normally see in 8-rack, and then it's just full of discard effects, so you can just disrupt your opponent's plan. So it's a different way to play. Definitely these decks are designed for one-on-one and not the free-for-all style of it, the 4-player. So I'll probably be building another one at some point. I haven't decided who my 4-player commander, my Oathbreaker, will be, what the signature spell will be. Oh, if I don't remember if I said, but the signature spell is, of course, Smallpox with Duretti, because 8-rack, right? Smallpox, great card. You need double black, and of course you have to sit there and everybody has to discard a card, everybody has to sacrifice a creature, everybody has to destroy a land. So it's really, really tough on a lot of people. So that's the 8-rack style. That's the fun stuff with the new format of Oathbreaker. I'm excited to test it out as 4-player. One-on-one's fun. The other format that I've been considering trying to get into and try out is that Canadian Highlander or Canlander, which is another singleton format there, but there is a point list that goes along with this. You can play the most broken cards you can think of. You can run Black Lotus. You can be able to run the Moxen. You can be able to run all these wonderful Power 9 cards, but it's going to cost you points, and you only have a certain number of points that you can put into your deck in order to play. But if you like the idea of a watered-down, different strategy version of Vintage, this is the way to go, right? Or if you like drafting Vintage Cube and playing decks, this is the way to go, because it has a lot more depth to it. So I'm interested in trying that out, but it's going to be one of those, okay, let's who can I convince, or who should I just build up and proxy up a bunch of cards and say, okay, here are the fun decks, and let's play. All right, because I do like being able to do that. Hey, you want to play a game of Magic? Well, I've got modern decks for you. I've got a legacy deck for you. What format do you want to play? 1v1, we can do that. You want to play Commander? All right, let's try these different ideas and different strategies. So I like being able to have all those cards available for people to be able to play and enjoy. So that's our Magic-related news that we wanted to talk about and get over and discussing with everybody. Let me know if you guys are getting a cool Oathbreaker deck going. Have you tried the format? Are you interested in the format? There's some cool stuff that you can do in that format. In other stuff, if we're talking about going through our questions, what are you watching? What are you playing? What are you doing outside of Magic and outside of your normal stuff? Well, everybody has been obsessed with The Last of Us. Of course, we talked about it in our previous episode when we were talking about esports. So Last of Us is finished up. Very, very entertaining. I love the way that it ended. Excited for what is to come with season 2. I heard that it's going to be similar to the game for season 2, that the second game, they're just kind of keeping along with this pathway. And I heard rumors that people didn't like the second game as much, but I don't know because I haven't played either of them. So, been enjoying at least the show. Survivor is back. That's pretty much the only reality show that I actively consume because I love watching all of the strategy and the gameplay and outplay side of things. So Survivor is back. Big fan of how Survivor goes. Early episodes, are tough. You have to try to get used to the players, get used to the tribes, try to, find people that you want to win, that you're invested in. And there's a lot of players that get voted out that you go, I don't even remember what their name is because it's so early. My favorite part of Survivor is that post-merge, where it goes from that group game to the individual game and everything changes and everybody is now ramping up their strategies and trying to get people to work with them and trying to figure everything out. So I'm loving this season, like always. Very, very good stuff is kind of what we're watching. Mandalorian is back. That's been pretty good. I know I have not started Andor yet. It's on the list, though. It's going to happen. So, been doing that. Of course, the Vox Machina stuff, I know is come and gone. I still have, the season finale to watch, but it's, again, on my list of things to be able to watch. So, that's kind of our update of what we're watching. Now, when it comes to what we're playing, Diablo 4 has hit the beta. And so I did the pre-order for it because I'm a sucker for Blizzard games. I've been a Blizzard fan, much more hardcore earlier in life. And then, they sort of imploded on themselves and died. But Diablo 4 is coming out, and I, of course, an excuse to play a Necromancer? Yes, I will accept this offer of being a Necromancer and running around. Now, early on in the beta, they do not have access to Necromancer, so I tried out the Assassin. Now, one of the really cool things about Diablo 4 that I have enjoyed so far is the fact that as a melee-esque class, I'm assuming it's for the Barbarian too. I have not tested the Barbarian, but at least for the Assassin, all right, it's originally a Diablo 2 character. They had the Demon Hunter for Diablo 3, and you're sort of a little bit of both now. It's still listed as an assassin for Diablo 4, but one of the cool things is you have 2 weapon slots, and similar to previous where it's if you have your bow, you can use your bow spells. If you've got your melee weapon, your dagger, your sword, whatever, you get to use your of course, your melee spells and abilities. Now, you would have to toggle and switch and be like, okay, here's the ones that I want, and I'm going to switch to it. It's all equipped. You already have all that equipped. So if I'm left-clicking and I'm going to be using my bow, boom, 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 left-click, spam, hungering arrow. It's called something else in this, but, you're sitting there spamming that, and then, a bunch of enemies have surrounded you. You start right-clicking, and your daggers are already stabbing them. So you don't have to worry about switching gear, doing anything like that. Your weapons are equipped and allows a little bit more flexibility. There's a dash mechanic, and so like I'll press spacebar and I'll dash or I'll roll. It also allows me to interact with certain areas on the map where I can crouch down or climb down a cliff, climb up a cliff. So it feels a lot more mobile and interactive. Like you're running and jumping and doing these things. That is a little bit different than the previous ones where it's just all the clicking all the time. So that's been pretty cool to see that shift and that difference for the Diablo stuff. And I'm very excited to see, like, graphics are looking great. The cinematics are still amazing like they have always been. But it's been a pretty fun adventure so far to be testing things out. I don't know if I'm going to be playing the Necromancer in the beta. I might just stick around with the Assassin and do that and just save the Necromancer for when the actual game comes out in June. But I've been really, really enjoying playing through and learning about it. There's another game that we've been playing too. And I'm trying to think something about the forest. It's like a survival game. It's in early access, but you kind of run around, you chop down trees, you build stuff. You're supposed to be like rescuing people in this forest, and there's a bunch of cannibals and mutated people and stuff that are going to attack you. And it's been cool because you can have lots of people play it. I don't play that many survival games. I've tried some of them, but this one's been a lot of fun because it's very cool inventory and crafting system in place now, but it is early access, so it does have that unfinishedness to it. That's going to be a continual update game. But if you look back at one of my other favorite kind of continuing games, if we're thinking about like Sea of Thieves, they just hit their kind of 5th anniversary or something like that. That was another one where it felt incomplete when it first came out and has done one of the best jobs of being a continual updated game. And I know my buddy has said this many times, like, you know what? There's too much stuff now. There's too much things in Sea of Thieves. I just want the old days where I know that there's this, and this, and I can do some fighting and do some PvP. Now it's like there's so many things in the world. It's not always often that you see another ship when you're rolling around. And, that happens. There's all that changes and different things that you can be able to do. But I still enjoy Sea of Thieves and jumping on and being like, all right, let's go run around and stuff. See what we find and don't have to necessarily be directed by quest and things like that. But those are our kind of updates on what we're watching, what we're doing, what we're playing. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the shifts and the changes to the podcast. We're going to be continuing to do more of these like updates. We're going to be continuing to do some talking, and then we'll be starting up with some interview stuff in the near future. But thanks so much for listening, guys. If you like this stuff, make sure you're giving those ratings, rate them up, subscribes, all that kind of good stuff. But that's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next game.